When I ask men what they want for their spouse or girlfriend or people in their lives, they generally say great things. They say, I want that person to be happy. I want them to be fulfilled. I want them to live fully, right? This is what they're willing to offer, help, support, provide for other people. And then when I ask them what they want from themselves, they say, I don't know. And so what I have taken to doing, and it seems to be pretty effective, is to ask them to stand outside of yourself and go, okay, well, just step outside of yourself for a moment. Imagine, that you're standing there next to yourself. What do you say to yourself? What do you say to this whole separate person, right? This just happens to be you. What do you say? And you say, well, I want you to feel loved. I want you to feel supported. I want you to feel alive. I want you to be happy. I want you to be all of these things, right? And we have to recognize in that moment that what we're doing is we're offering up, willing to support and give to others the thing that we're not actually offering up and willing to give to ourselves, that we're not prioritizing ourselves. And for some reason, we don't think that we deserve the same things that everyone else deserves. And I say for some reason, there's a reason, and it's because we don't value ourselves. We don't see our self-worth, which is the foundation for all of our beliefs, our operating instructions that we developed in childhood, the coping mechanisms that we developed in childhood, the point of reference that we have in relation to everyone else, whether or not we think that we're okay, whether we're worthy, whether we're valuable, whether we're safe, whether we're secure, whether we're okay. And we've never revisited that. We've never come back to the conversation. Whatever we initially decided about that through our interactions, through what was handed to us by others, through our observation, interpretation, and assignment of meaning as a child, we've never revisited that. Not in a way that goes deep, not in a way that asks, wait a minute, let me not just observe this moment, right? But let me ask, what's the thing behind the thing? What's the motivation behind this? What is it that I am trying to get? What am I trying to avoid in my behavior? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? What are my emotions? What are my actions? What is it that I'm afraid of? And a lot of times we have to work that out with somebody else. We have to work that out in conversation because it's hard for us to see ourselves. It's hard for us to answer or ask ourselves questions. We can do it. We can learn to do it. I teach men how to do it, but it's not something that we naturally do. In fact, we naturally walk around thinking that everybody else has it all together, that everybody else has all the answers, so that we're the only one that's confused. So even if our own brain tells us something, we go, oh, okay. We just believe it. We don't challenge it. We just assume that it's correct. And because it pokes some sort of fear of not being safe, not being secure, not being okay, then we go into fight or flight mode. We go into reaction mode, and we wind up behaving in ways that don't serve us, and then we feel bad about that. Then we have shame and guilt and frustration and resentment, and we start to self-loathe, self-hate. We start to get down on ourselves, right? And when we start to spiral into what Brene Brown calls a shame spiral, and it's hard to come up from those. And when we finally do come up from air, and we feel better, we still have this undercurrent of a lack of self-trust, right? A lack of self-respect, a lack of self-confidence, because we're living at odds with ourselves and we don't know why. And through conversation, we're actually able to surface those things, right? We're actually able to surface those moments where the coach is able to mirror, to reflect, right? To repeat back to the man what it is that he's saying, so that he can go, I I've never actually heard myself say that. I've never actually thought that before. I've never turned that inside out to see what the inverse of that is. And this is what generally occurs. We don't see the gaps. We don't see the opposite of, right? We're trying so hard to solve the mental math of this problem that feels so real that we think we have, that we get fixated, we get tunnel vision, and we can't see ourselves and we can't see the other options, right? A lot of times I will describe it as turning the sock inside out, right? Because in our mind, the sock goes on one way, but once we turn it inside out and we take a look at it from a different perspective, a different direction, we actually come up with a different set of options to explore. Because sometimes what we need to do is we need to actually consider something in order to eliminate something. And if we limit ourselves, right, if we don't allow ourselves to consider those other options, then we'll find ourselves stuck. So these are the things I help men with. These are the things I talk about with them on our coaching calls. And if you find yourself in this place, reach out, message me. Let's talk. Let's help you get unstuck.